Welkom bij Women Disrupting Tech. Mijn naam is Dirk-Jan Hupkes en in deze podcast ga ik op ontdekkingsreis in de wereld van vrouwen in de technologiesector. Ik ga in gesprek met vrouwen die in tech werken of oprichter zijn van een tech-startup. Ik ga op zoek naar het antwoord op de vraag hoe zij er wel in geslaagd zijn om succes te hebben. Met andere woorden, hoe zij de technologiesector disrupten. Luister je mee? Hey, welcome to the 25th episode of Women Disrupting Tech. This is a special edition because this time I have not one, but 3 guests. This episode was recorded during a Panel 35 discussion on career advancement of women in tech at the Hague Tech. Panel 35 is about sharing experiences between entrepreneurs so others can benefit from your experience. And I was honored to host this discussion with Hendrika Willemse, Wafa Meriba, and Jennifer Delano that is loaded with anecdotes, tips, and how-to when it comes to coaching, dealing with awkward situations at work, and getting the attention you deserve as a woman in tech. Now, heads up, normally I try to keep edits to a minimum, but as we didn't have microphones for everyone in the room, during the Q&A, I had to do some minor editing to keep the pace in the Q&A parts towards the end. And don't worry, I kept the questions and the answers in, so you won't miss a thing. A special thank you to the team of the Hague Tech for organizing the event, to Hendrika and Wafa and Jennifer for sharing their wisdom and experiences with the crowd, and to Jennifer for choosing the event to launch her Tech on Heels platform. Also, a very special thank you to the team of Holland Park Media for taking care of the live stream and the recordings. Now on to the episode. I hope you enjoy it. Almost good evening, everyone. Welcome to Panel 35. It's an event about women in tech, and especially today it's going to be about career advancement of women in tech. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dirk-Jan Hupkes. I'm the owner and founder of a True Story Company and the host of the podcast Women Disrupting Tech. That's about interviewing female founders of tech podcast and women in tech more in general about their journey. I've already had the pleasure of interviewing 2 of my guests on the panel today, Jennifer and Hendrika. So with that, I'd like to introduce my panelists with you. First up, I'll go from my immediate left to the farther left. So I'll start with Jennifer. And Jennifer is Jennifer Delano. She's the founder and owner of PR Gurus. And she is actually also a PR guru. She helps companies get publicity in any way, shape, or form for which you cannot pay, but which does yield. And yes, she is on a journey to get more women in tech, like I am. So that's welcome to Panel 35, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay. Then on the left of Jennifer, for you on the right, I always have to mix that up, is Wafa Meriba. And Wafa is, I have to look in my notes, is the Chief Product Manager of AI at Standard & Poor's. And Standard & Poor's, just for context, if you know anything about investing, Standard & Poor's is the company that all people go to for data about investment. So there's a lot of data there, and also subsequently a reason to have AI, artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah. It's basically S&P. If you're ever keen on investing, and in stock market is one of the Wall Street giants. Yeah. And I am a product lead there.
Good. And then finally, but yeah, last but certainly not least, Hendrika Willemse. And Hendrika is currently She's the owner and founder of CNIT. She is the writer of the book Kick-Ass. And also, fun fact, you really do not want to meet her in a dark alley because she is going to kick your ass. She is a 3 times world champion karate.
I love it.
So, with that, let's transition to the first discussion question about on panel 35. Also, a warm welcome to the viewers on the live stream. I forgot that, so sorry, but good to have you on board. So, outside in, Hendrika, I was wondering, you've been active in IT for 20 years. Can you recall any standout moments that helped you get further or that actually blocked you?
Yes, so 20 years IT, first 10 years I've built my own company, then sold the company, moved into more corporate life, and I did that parallel to the karate thing, so no social life, definitely not. I think a couple of things that have really helped me during my career, and one is that really stands out for me, is the fact that somebody said to me once, if you want a lot, you should not ask for little. And that has really raised the bar for me and helped me in negotiating and seeing my value, actually. So that was definitely a game changer. And I think one other thing that also really helped me, and that has to do with the karate thing as well, is that, if you want something, you just have to go for that, right? Regardless of what other people say or other people think, or the story that you might tell yourself, the thing that you're telling yourself that is blocking you. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was all about finding my own balance, making my own decisions, choosing my own route. And I think there were definitely also things that blocked me a bit, but I always try to find my way to work around that, because there will always be blockers in life. Things will always happen. The road it's a bumpy road.
Yeah, it's always a bumpy road.
Yes. Shit happens, and that's life.
Yeah. So Wafa, fun fact about you, I read, was that you managed 3 teams consecutively and then ended up being the only woman on all 3 teams.
Yeah. So maybe my experience today is a bit different. I work in a corporation where you have like 30,000 employees around the world. And I have the privilege to lead teams. And when I was leading teams, one time I remember in a teams meeting, I was looking around like, hey, wow, these are 23 people and I'm the 24th. And these are all men and I'm the only woman here and leading everybody towards this end goal. And I'm like, I think we should work more on the diversity when it comes to our company. And I was also in a meeting just right after that with the stakeholders, and I've noticed the same thing. And it is a fact. So it's not something that is a secret. We should be on a more diverse level here on tech.
Yeah. On that point, Jennifer, what's the business case? Is there a business case for more women in tech?
What do you mean, a business case?
Is it financially good? Are there financially good reasons to have more women in tech?
It's good that you ask. I just wrote down, studies show more diverse teams are more creative, innovative, and productive. Yeah. So basically, it's a really good business sense to have more diversity in teams and more equality when it comes to women.
Okay. And you told me when you were on the podcast, you told me, well, the one thing we do not need are pink office chairs, but what do women need, do you think?
Well, that is, of course, up to every woman. What they would need to know that they find a round company to work in. However, what I totally understand is that women are looking for a place they love to work, and then they will have their a place where they can learn something, where they can grow, where they are appreciated, and that is something that when it comes to business culture, that is something you should talk about it when you are only men a business that only has men working there, it is something you should just show. Like, we're looking for people, we're looking for women. We have an open environment where women can, grow and be productive.
Yeah, but what I hear quite often, I'm working for a tech startup that has, with the exception of one female intern, has only men. Yeah, we don't get those people. We don't get the women. Either they just don't come to us, or they come to us not in technical positions.
Then you have to ask yourself as a man, how is that possible that they don't come to me? That they're not looking at as a company where they want to work. So it's not, they always put the women there. The blame game is always towards women. Yeah, you should just go into tech and stuff like that. No, tech companies should be aware that they need women, and tech companies should, look at themselves and start growing a kind of culture where women actually want to work with, in.
So Hendrika, you headed a IT company. You successfully sold it, but when you were in charge of that IT company, how did you deal with this? Did you pay special attention to this at all, or did you just take the privilege of okay, I'm the boss now, so I can hire whoever I want?
So I kind of think that I was always looking for diversity. When I had my own company, and even when I moved into corporate life, when I ran a business unit of over 60 people, I was always looking for diversity in the team. And that's also because I know, and it has to do with my karate background as well, that teams can only be outstanding when diversity is a fundamental basis. When it's a fundament in the team. And that's about different ways of thinking, different ways of solving things, different levels of experience. And I think that, you just have to be open-minded. Just because we feel that something is good doesn't mean that has to be good, right? So I feel that a lot of companies, they have a very wrong way of looking at talent, if you ask me, because they are looking at skills, experience, how many years they have been in the working field, and they don't look at the DNA and the motivation of the person. And DNA of motivation is a given. Skills, experience is something you can gain and something you can learn.
Yeah.
Yes, so, they're looking for the sheep with the 5 legs, which is not ever out there. So I think that a lot of companies should actually reflect and should ask themselves the question, what if I could actually do things different? And the thing, we cannot find them, well, how hard are you looking?
Right? But is it at least my personal experience is that if you look at the job ads, indeed it's the sheep with the 5 legs, always, because you have to do everything plus even more.
You have to be 20 years old and also have at least 10 years experience.
Yeah.
And a technical education.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, exactly. From my own experience, men are they more likely to just bluff their way out of it and say, hey, listen, I check 5 of these boxes and the other 5, either I'll gain the experience or
I'll just fake it till I make it.
Yeah.
I actually think they do, because I think a lot of the women, and I'm generalizing a bit, so please don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of women are more modest. They feel that they have to be perfect in order for actually to go for something. But we don't have to be perfect, right? And a lot of the times our definition of perfect is like 120 or 130%, right? 80% might be good enough. So yes, I think a lot of men tend to actually raise their hand, just go for things, and to not actually worry a lot about what if or what could happen if things go wrong.
Okay.
But that's up to businesses to be aware of that, and especially ask some good questions. Yeah. When they're talking to a potential female employee. Or actually just add a sentence in the vacancy, right? If you don't tick all the boxes, please actually send your resume, because we might be interested in talking to you.
Yeah.
It has already been happening right now, like this sentence. But it's also nice to look at the root cause, right?
Yeah.
So what makes that women be a little bit skeptical about applying for a job, but men go for it? Like, where did we go wrong in a sense that this difference happens? Is it like maybe the environment? Is it the way that women were brought up as well? Is it something we can change there for them to change on a professional level? Because it is a personality trait in some way that women are like that, having a little bit of imposter syndrome. And I'm also now generalizing. But men are always like the go-getters, and then I'm going to apply for a job no matter what goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have a point that there's also something in upbringing, in the sense that women are more brought up in general. I'm generalizing here again, for care, and not per se for let's say the hard work.
I think that that's what happened when kids even, my boy is like 5 years old almost. He's turning 5 in August. So we're going to school now. And that is an interesting dynamic in class because all these girls are actually looking at each other. What are they wearing? How they are looking? And then when they actually have a birthday, they get something pink, right? Or they get a kitchen or a doll because they need to take care. They need to start caring about things. They need to start cooking about things. So it's really interesting. And if that actually, if it doesn't, if they don't have the interest that we expect them to have, we're going to start labeling things, labeling kids, right? Because then it's weird. So I think that starts really young, which is difficult when you grow older because it has all these years of biases and everything that we actually take with us and the way we look at ourselves. But I think that, the power is that we can write our own story, right? If we're really motivated to change things in our life, we can actually take that decision every single day, regardless of what other people think about that.
Is it about mindset?
I think a lot has to do about mindset.
And how do we train young girls on that?
I think we have to teach people to be resilient. And I always say that how we actually handle challenges defines the quality of our life.
Yeah.
And I started karate because I got bullied in school for like a year and a half, which made me change schools and actually was the foundation for me to choose and start practicing karate. Did I ever thought I would be a world champion? No way in hell. I thought that. But things started shifting for me because I took a decision. I made a decision. I chose a different direction in life. I was the one who actually failed her CITO-toets. No HAVO wanted me because they thought I was never going to make it. When I was 27 selling my own company, I was like, where are all these people, right? So we can do that. That has to do with the mindset and what happens in our head and the story that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would even mention like maybe a small example, but like when a kid falls, you can have like two types of people, and I'm choking on my own words right now. You can either be the person who tells them, okay, let me help you and grab their hands, or you can give them, okay, you can do it. You can wake up by yourself, and that like builds up from the childhood until they grow up. But it's a long way and journey as well.
Yeah, I have two questions, follow-up questions on that. One is what can men do in this respect?
So I will mention in the business itself, and this is also close to heart. It is true that we are lacking maybe female mentorship around. So when I grew up and I was very interested in AI, I liked it. I liked mathematics at that time. And I was growing up and wanting somebody to see some female role model for me to maybe get inspired by her, but I didn't find that. And for that, I had to go to one of the executives that I worked with, and I found him like really inspiring. So I reached out, I told him, hey, do you mind being my mentor? And I was like 21 at that time. And he's like, yeah, this 21 lady who just graduated from school, basically, just asking me, my 50 years old, to be her mentor. But yeah, why not? And he took me and he sponsored me, but he always like, not only doing it on the background, but sometimes I'm in a meeting and he was like, hey, Wafa, what do you think there? And I've found that really appreciative. And now I'm so grateful for that, because now in the meetings, I'm like, okay, this is what I think about the situation. And build me up a little bit in that, okay, even in a room full of 25 men, if I know that my opinion matters, I will say it. And yeah, so back to your question. Men can do mentorship, men can do sponsorship, but men can be the one who stops in a meeting when they feel women are marginalized, and they can say, okay, but I feel like she has an opinion to say. So can we stop and listen to maybe Jennifer? Just put an example out there.
Just give people space, give women
Yeah.
space in the meetings.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you? Because you talked at the start of the discussion, you told us that you actually started to have that discussion within S&P.
Yeah.
About having more women and giving them more space. How did you go about getting results on that?
So when I went to S&P, it is again a huge company. It has many people in many different countries. So you can imagine I cannot just gather people in the room and say, okay, this is what we should. Even if I have to talk about diversity, I have to go through different departments to do that. So S&P had a department called diversity. And I told them, I spoke with one lady there, and I told her, we can do one small thing. I don't have to change the world today, but what I can do is, when people are laid off in the beginning of the year from my company, so I told her, maybe some of the women who are really talented and they are in an unfortunate situation that they have been laid off, maybe as part of the diversity schema that we have at the company, we can bring them back. And yeah, it's been going well, actually, with the diversity. I think it won an award. In my opinion, we can also always improve and do better. But I think S&P is doing well on this.
Okay, that's
because
good to
it
hear.
also has a good branding to maintain as well.
Yeah, but because I was just thinking, the finance industry and especially investment management or the asset management industry isn't exactly known for diversity. I heard somewhere that 98% of or 99% even of the funds, and that's the amount of money, not the number of funds, is managed by men. And
mainly men. And then that is, they only looked at that 1%, small 1%, that those are companies who are having a founder that is a female, or that there's a female somewhere in the founding team. So purely female founders having such a hard time to get the funds they need to get through, basically.
Do you think, it's a open question, I don't know, that larger companies have an example to set there? So let's say S&P, that they are also the acting as ambassador, like, hey, we think this is important on a more industry level, and maybe large IT companies, or maybe also with help of large PR firms.
Well, only from a PR perspective, it's so smart to have some women around. I do PR for tech companies, and I always ask, when I'm talking to the founder or CEO, who are mainly men, like almost all the time are men, and I always ask, where are the females here? Where are they? And then they say, yeah, we have an Ellen on the administration, or we have a Marieke doing communications, or being a VA or something, and that's it. And I really ask, how are you going to take care of this? Yes, okay, you just started, or you're there for a couple of years. This can't be the future of your company, because this is something you can't sell. When it comes to media attention, you can't sell a company that is only founded by men, who only hire men, who only have men on all the pictures. It's such a bad PR story. So only from a PR perspective, it's so smart to have at least some women.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think some larger companies are doing well, right? If you look at Capgemini, for example, they have Janine Peek. If you look at Dell, they have Isabel Mol, who is such a great role model, if you ask me. So there are definitely companies out there who are actually improving and who are more invested in diversity, and they actually see the true value of diversity in their company. So I think, yes, there's a long way to go, but these small steps can make a difference, right, on the long term.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that a company start making these small steps.
So is it a matter of really small steps, or are there also big breaks?
I don't think so.
Yeah, at least you need to put some targets out there. And those are, big targets.
Let me put that question out there. Do we need quota?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear a discussion. Good. Why yes?
Otherwise, a lot of men won't.
Okay. Why no?
We need to make them.
I think it's needed. I hate the quota, to be honest. And you know why? Because I think in the long run, it's not going to work out. Because companies, they're going to check box stuff. They're not going to change their culture. So you can add all the diversity you want, but they're gonna drop off. They're going to leave the company, right? Because if you don't have an inclusive culture, diversity will not actually bring the right and bring the potential it has for the company. If you have all these diversity sitting at the table, but people don't feel actually the space to speak up, if they're not being valued, if their input is actually not being used, they're going to leave.
Yeah.
Right? So stop the facade of checkboxing and start actually doing something of value.
Wafa, as a question, should it be do you think social women in or diversity is a social issue or more a plain vanilla economic issue?
I wouldn't go with plain vanilla, but it is both social issue, but also economical issue. So companies can take a step, men can take a step, and women can take a step as well. So women can change their mindset in a way. I'm a bit nasally.
No worries. Take a sip. Let me also ask you then, if you look at back to the ambassador example, is this something that S&P also includes in, for instance, the indices they put out, that they actually look for the, companies with these qualities? Companies who have better diversity and as a result better numbers.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you put together, how I understand it, a benchmark or an index for that is used by asset managers to invest in, you have to choose a basis for that index, and that can be the plain vanilla S&P 500, but it could also be the S&P 500 corrected for diversity, or for companies who have more than 50% women in their workforce. Is that something that S&P works on?
You mean a threshold?
Yeah.
Okay. I do believe that, but I don't want to speak on S&P behalf because I don't want to have the legal team follow me around. So I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But I do believe that. I heard that from the diversity department. They have a certain threshold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I think what you also see happening in companies is that they at least want to have a couple of women in the interview process in order for people to proceed with filling the vacancies, which I think is very good because that challenges people to actually start looking for different people in a different way and using different channels. And I think it's all about change, and change is hard.
Yeah.
Right? Because then we need to start doing different things. We need to start thinking in different ways, which is a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's getting out of your comfort zone.
Yes. Yes.
For men and for women.
And that brings friction.
Yeah.
And I think that my view is when you look at diversity, there are three elements in there, right? There are the men, there are the women, and there's the company, the culture. And all these three elements, they need to work together in order for diversity to work and to sustain, to actually sustain that diversity, right? So for it to work in the long run. So I don't think there's a quick fix,
No.
but I think that if we just take small steps every single day And if people just start asking themselves the question, what if we can do things different? I think we can actually make big steps in the long run.
Like, for example, they could take the initiative by providing trainings for women that want to stay and grow in their organization. I think big companies, especially, they can afford trainings. They can afford hiring trial and error. They can provide hiring somebody maybe not experienced enough, but then let them gain the experience throughout the years. Big companies have the money to afford it, like contrary to startups or people who have a small business as well.
Yeah,
Although-
and give women the power to lead. Because in Holland, we're doing really bad when it comes to getting female leaders towards middle management and up. Like, we're doing really bad. We're even doing worse than Poland.
Yeah, I hate to confirm this, but I'm confirming this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be ashamed of ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to switch tracks a bit because I want to go to Wafa with one question you put down that just triggered me.
Yeah.
So there's a technology and a wealth gap that is currently between men and women. You're working in AI.
Yeah.
Is that going to make that gap bigger or smaller, you think?
So I specialize in AI, and I have noticed, so tech is something, but then taking it to AI, that becomes like even more challenging and more like a forefront to start looking at it seriously before it goes even further. There's a fun story. It's not fun, but I just want to share it right there. So Amazon had a hiring system, and this hiring system, what they do is like they send it a resume, and then they just either invite the person for an interview or not. They notice at the end of a few months that the system is only inviting men for interviews. And they're like, okay, this is an AI system, but it's kind of biased towards men. And they notice, okay, what is the cause that it's having this AI system? And it was that it was fed resumes from people that were hired by Amazon decades ago. And most of those people were men. So the system just had in their mind that, oh, I think when I see men, that must be more viable to get the job than women. They cut the project, of course. But there is one thing that with AI now coming and booming, and I know when we talk about tech, we have to talk about AI in 2023. And I know there's a lot of bias. And I think every company, whether regulated by the EU regulations or not, should take responsibility into making sure that their systems are not biased towards gender or any other things as well, but especially gender, but making sure that what they feed to these systems are actually viable and the things that they want to get as output. Yeah.
So that means also sifting through data and getting data quality.
Yeah. Making sure that's a step in their process. Yeah.
So that's another small. Well, I wouldn't call it a small step. Well, it's a small step for us to announce,
sure.
but big step, I think, forward. But do you think also that then that AI provides an opportunity to, for lack of a better word, restart some of the things we've done so far?
Well, it's a nice question because then it's up to us, human. The system can only be as good as the data we feed it, and the data is coming from us.
Yeah.
So it's either we go by the mindset, I heard it a lot all over LinkedIn these days, bias to humans, bias systems. But if you actually want to do a better world, then I would say we make sure that the systems are not biased. Even though the data are biased, we make sure that we have a step intermediate in between, that everything that goes into the systems are actually things that we want to have in the systems. Ethical, like I said, non-biased toward gender, towards, I know there has been also some other things, like maybe race, maybe like a country, and etc. And yeah. And back to your question, with AI, I do feel that the gap is being widened right now because even more men are going through AI, thinking that it is a math thing, and math are mainly for men in a sense.
Yeah. So it's important also for women to,
Yeah.
even without the math background,
Yeah.
to go in.
Yeah, even start small. You don't have to go and take the high road just immediately. You can even start small with a small course. And if you feel it's something for you, you can now maybe like addressing the younger generations. So start small, see a course. If it's something for you, then you can go ahead, maybe start with an internship. If you like it even more, you can become a data scientist in a company. And that's how you break in as a female in the world of AI.
Yeah. And then you need the mentors, the sponsors.
Yeah.
Is that something that you think men get easier? Those sponsors?
Yes. I have a client. I have a client who is a female founder of a tech company, and she is looking for funding for a couple of years now, and she went to this accelerator program, and she has a really nice idea. I also invested in it, and she is looking for funding, and basically everywhere she comes, she noticed that, you know, because of her being a woman, that she's not getting the funding while all the guys are asking far more money and also getting it. So during the accelerator program, which is pretty a program that if you're in, you get your investment, she was the only one who didn't. And so at this moment, I advised her to bring men on the table whenever she goes to meetings. So there is this, senior men I met during
sort of a sad story.
Yeah,
though,
it
that
is.
you have to
No, it
bring
is a
in
really it is a really sad story. But I told him about it, and he said, "Well, I'm willing to come with her." So she brings her IT guy. She brings this man. She just, she takes men with her and just to try to solve this problem. Still not there yet. However, I think she has far better chances now. But it's really sad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad that you need a man to get funding as a woman.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've noticed. I'm kind of speaking of a back, like maybe not really. I'm not Dutch, so but I noticed that there is a mentality a little bit, and I'm gonna say sometimes, or a little bit, just to be fair, that there is a kind of the boys' club.
Yeah.
Right, so boys club knows each other, hang out with each other, fund each other, and then support each other at work, at companies.
Yeah. They recognize each other in the other guy, and voila, and they help out that guy. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's sad. It's nice if you're a guy, but as a woman, it's sad because you don't really help out a talent that there is.
Yeah. There's a silver lining to it. If you bring in more women, this problem will sort of automatically solve itself.
Yes, because women will help out women.
Known to hire more women.
Yes, but then we don't want to create all these women groups as well. You know, right? Because we want to break the old boys network, but we don't want to create an old girls network because we need each other.
Yeah.
We need infiltration.
Yes. Like we need each other. And from the funding part, please don't feel that it's not possible for you, because I found funding to actually sell my company, and I sold it good. So that can definitely be done. But, there's always a different story to... there are always two stories, right? But please feel that it's definitely possible, but you need to be smart about how you actually approach things and how you handle things.
And otherwise, bring a guy.
Even if as a mentor.
Yes.
Or go on my podcast. Okay. Anyway, with that, I'd like to open up the floor for questions from the room. For the viewers at home, there's people behind the cam, beside the cameraman, who may have questions. So feel free to ask.
Not everyone together.
Yes, all the way in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, before you answer, let me phrase that question so that it's on the also can be heard by the people on the live stream. Question is, if I'm paraphrasing here a bit, that if you ask a question or if you have a concern, you feel you are taken less serious than your colleague, and your question is to Wafa, how do I address this in a way that remains respectful?
Yeah, without being called aggressive,
Yeah.
which is a thing when
Yeah.
it comes to, yeah.
Yeah. So just a quick question. Is your colleague, Sharon, also his concerns is a male? Okay. And you guys are around the same age? So first thing, I did this mistake when I was young, so I don't want you to repeat it again. Don't personalize it. It's not about you. It's not your fault. So that's the first to start with. Don't personalize it. It is up to them to help you equally. So if they are not helping you equally, it's on their side and not on your side. What you can do, it helped me that I schedule one-on-ones. I try to break into people's. It is a human thing, right? So we are all human working together. And when I have this situation with difficult people at work, maybe customers that are a bit difficult, I schedule one-on-one and get to know them. But maybe sometimes if they get to know me and they know that I got my, can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay. I got my shit together, then they probably will see, they trust me even more. And try maybe to sometimes work on something together. I know in coding, as a software engineer, you have this pair programming sometimes, right? Maybe that helps you. Maybe you can book somebody's calendar, just choose one person at a time because it's less stressful for you. Have maybe one meeting, 1 hour, do pair programming with one of your colleagues that you needed help with. And that might help you in both networking with them, but also like seeing that you know what you're talking about and try to prepare a little bit. Try to say, okay, I know this code. Let's do it together. And that establish a relationship with them. That would help you. So don't personalize it. Try to be proactive in establishing the relationship. But if that didn't help and that continues for a long time, you should also ask yourself if you are in the right working environment as well, because your mental health is on the line here.
Can you read Dutch? We have this book, it's called How to, if I translate it, How to Catch a Rat. And it's about all the tricks that colleagues can put on you. Mm-hmm. And it has all kind of tips and tricks on how to, catch the rat and how to turn this around. And this is really helpful advice as well.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like you wanted to add something.
Don't accept the answer. If they say we'll come to that, just ask them when.
Yeah.
When will we come to that? Just make sure you get things clear and get things sorted. And if they then say again, we'll come to that, okay, let's schedule something. When are we going to actually cover this?
Yeah.
Don't accept the answer.
Yeah,
and
really follow through on it.
Yeah.
I think that's really a powerful strategy to make sure that people get it in their head. In addition to linking up with people one-on-one, because often my experience, at least, is that people in a one-on-one environment, if you confront them with behavior or if you ask them for favors, they are much more willing to do it right then, right now, and get that problem out of the way. So I think that's a really powerful strategy, Wafa.
Yeah. And make them accountable as well.
Yeah.
So I know you have daily stand-ups as software. In the daily stand-up, say, I went through this problem. I reached out to, I don't know, Mark, and I'm waiting for Mark's response to be able to move forward. Like, mention the name, mention the person, so the person realizes that you're not playing around, you're just literally waiting for him.
Yeah, and afterwards, when Mark has helped you, mention that on the stand-up as well. Say,
Exactly.
Hey, listen, I had help from Mark solving this, because then the other men in the room get to see, oh, there's this guy helping her. Oh, maybe I should be doing that too.
Yeah.
So it sets an example in their minds.
Yeah, exactly. Good addition.
So, yes? Good. Any other questions? So if you find out that you're underpaid, or more, yeah. I'm going to look to Hendrika here.
I know
as
that
started.
happened. That happened to me. Because I basically, a couple of years in corporate life, I figured out that there was another guy in the same role that I was in as well, and he actually earned a lot more than I did. So I was really pissed off. And then I called my boss, and I said, "Listen up. This is the situation. What the F are you going to do about this?" And they gave me a raise, actually. I was still pissed off, but I took the situation in my own hand. And I also feel that the thing is, basically I was pissed off, but it was also my fault a little bit because I came into the company, I didn't have my research straight. I had faith that I was going to get like what I deserved, which is a wrong strategy because you need to do your homework and you need to negotiate. Right? And I think a lot of the women tend to actually take the first offer they get, and a lot of men, they go back to the drawing table because they're like, well, listen up. And if you know you want like this, you should ask for that because you're going to end up somewhere in the middle, right? And if they don't give you a pay raise, you can negotiate about all other things. Extra days off. I'm looking for the English word, onkostenvergoeding. Whatever you can figure out, right? There's always something expensive. There's always something to trade. But I feel that a lot of women actually should ask more for themselves and go do your benchmark, go do your homework.
And when they don't want to give it, go to somewhere else.
Yes.
Let them hire you and ask
Yes.
her your worth.
There are always companies who are willing to pay for what you're worth.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And also do your research at the beginning. So know the job description, know the job requirements. Sometimes I was reached out with a lot of companies saying, hey, do you want to join us? And I'm like, okay, but what is your budget? And this is what I feel I deserve as a product lead. And if you're not willing to match that, then it's fine. It's not the job for me. So also know it in advance. For your role, how much is there, how much people are getting paid in the market, and what do you feel you deserve? Because some people would be product leads and will be doing nothing in the background or doing 50% of the job, and they feel that they deserve that salary. But I know if I join a company, then I'm just gonna work my ass off. So I deserve what the amount that I propose. So know what you deserve in advance and negotiate for that. And if they didn't want it, then that's not the company for you.
Sometimes you really also walk away then.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Some companies tell you it's not the right moment, and then you should ask, so when is the moment? And what do I actually need to do to make it happen? You know, if you are being moved away with these arguments, make sure you get a plan.
These
and
are
you get a
such
commitment,
great
you
questions.
get a deadline. You need to make sure that you are in very clear understanding with your manager or with your boss about what's going to happen and what you need to do for that and what the consequence will be, right? So if you have an end of year view, if you did a good job, just ask, so what does that mean for me, right? What are my possibilities? I have ambition. How can I grow within the company? What does that financially mean for me, right? Ask the financial question. Money is not dirty to talk about. Definitely not, because it defines the quality of the life you're living.
I fully agree. And if I can add a bit to it, it's also, it's in preparation, but it's also, you talked about the end of year review. It's also in the workup, in the lead up to it. So if you have weekly, I talked to a female investor a time ago, and she told me that she sends her bosses weekly updates of what she has done that past week. As a result, she establishes a track record. In there, she has a standard list of ambitions that she has. So she's really vocal about the ambitions that she has. As a result, she gets picked for all kinds of jobs and all kinds of positions where, well, I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to be there, but I sure know that there's a lot of women or even men who want to be in the powerful position that she's in. So she created those circumstances for herself by advocating her own work, really telling people, hey, this is what I do, this is what I did, these are my ambitions, those should also include, hey, if I want, if I need a pay raise, like my girlfriend wanted a pay raise a couple of years back, and she literally also talked to her manager and said, "Hey, listen, what do I have to do to get that pay raise? How do we set that in targets, in performance targets?" And when she met the performance targets, there was like no way around it for her boss to say, "Okay, you met the targets. Now I'm going to have to pay up." So it's also in the in between intermediate communication that you have with your managers or team leads or.
Yeah, I just say, I never had been a full-time employee, so I have nothing to say about this.
Okay.
And
Even
now
a
I understand
freelancer.
again.
Even a freelancer, haven't you been like paid hourly or something?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
So even like negotiating your hourly rate, for
I don't
example.
negotiate. I tell them what I need. I don't ask what the budget is. I tell the budget that I need.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
ask for what you deserve.
And as a freelancer, you really need to do that
Oh,
otherwise
absolutely.
you are sure to be underpaid.
Yeah, I wrote a whole book about it.
Yeah. So, final question. Can I take this one?
Yeah, go.
So the question is, you're a female founder and you're looking for funding, and you were contemplating, hey, maybe I should have a female mentor to help me out on this. I can definitely recommend a few people. I think overall it's really powerful to have a female, a women to advise you, because they are going to tell you straight up what they ran into. And I think that message, having that in the back of your mind as not in a negative way, but really as a lesson learned. This is what I ran into, and this is how I dealt with it. This is also why we have the discussion here. Is really powerful. Also, it will help you. And I think there's plenty, especially if you look into the female VCs, there's plenty of women who really want to help out other women be successful, because that in the end is also going to help them. I talked to a female VC, and she said, well, in the tech space that I'm in, I had 4,000 pitch decks in a year, 2 of which were from female founders. So otherwise said, they need deal flow to get or people who need funding, women who need funding, to be able to give them funding. So that's and I think having a woman mentor you will absolutely help you avoid some of the let's say the bricks that you'll find on the way. So move the bears out of the way, as we say in Dutch. So.
Can I add one thing? You might want
Yeah.
to talk to her because she's
Yeah.
from Equals, and I know they have an awesome network, also hosting workshops around finding funding and everything. So I would definitely recommend you to just align with her after this session.
Yeah. So Equals is really helpful too. Yeah.
Yes, and when we're talking, maybe the next women, there are a lot of tech founders out there as well. And you might be surprised how much women love to help you out.
Yes.
So bluntly ask. And ask someone who's there where you want to go. And I'm sure you find someone who loves to help you out here.
With that, let's go. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much for participating, Jennifer, Wafa, and Hendrika. I really enjoyed having you on the panel and talking to you. Viewers, thank you very much for viewing. And I hope you have a very good rest of your evening. So that's a wrap for this episode of Women Disrupting Tech. Thank you for listening to the 25th episode, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. You can find all the links to the LinkedIn profiles and to the websites of Wafa, Jennifer, and Hendrika in the show notes, and you can find those at womendisruptingtech.blog. There, you can also join the Women Disrupting Tech community, and when you join, it's free. You get access to exclusive events like this panel discussion, and of course, I'll let you know when a new blog or episode comes online. If you want to listen to other episodes of Women Disrupting Tech, one of the previous 24 or one of the next, please don't forget to follow the podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, or Goodpods. And if you want to support the goal to make women in tech a normal thing in 10 years from now, please share the podcast with friends, family, and colleagues, because this way you give my guests the platform that they need to serve as role models to inspire other women to choose a career in tech. Finally, if you want to connect with me, you can do that via the website, but you can also look me up on LinkedIn. Just type in my name and you'll find me. Thank you for listening to this episode of Women Disrupting Tech, and I hope to welcome you again in the next episode.